Hi everyone, today we are going to discuss about cryptography and network security. I am Dr. Sandhya, working as an assistant professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering in SRM University. So today we are going to discuss about the basics of cryptography and network security. So let's move on to the slides. So first we are going to discuss about the definitions of various types of security. So basically what is security is we are going to protect the network or data or internet or computer or any devices with the help of some mechanisms in order to authenticate our data or information or devices, whatever. So basically we are going to provide security for the entire network, or the data which is transmitted using the network is called as security. So how we are going to provide security for computers? So using some tools we are going to protect the data which is available in our computer. So that is, we can call it as computer security. And next one is network security. So using some tools, again techniques, which measures the data security, how far the data is secured during the transmission, that we can assess it with the help of network security. That is, using network we are going to transmit the data. That data will be tested, or that data will be protected with the help of some network security mechanisms. So those tools or techniques or algorithms which comes under network security, we can call it as network security algorithms. And next type of security is internet security, which is used to protect the data during the transmission over a collection of interconnected networks. That means various types of networks are available. So across the network we are going to protect our data. That is internet security. And next we have we are going to focus more on internet security. Basically, internet security consists of some measures or tools to deter or prevent, or sometimes to detect and correct the security violations that involves the transmission of data and storage of data or information. So that is our main motive of internet security. So whenever we talk about security, we need to concentrate on three things. One is security attack, the other one is security mechanism, and finally we have security services. So first of all, we need to know what is security attack. So it is basically an action which has been done by the hacker or attacker that compromises the security rules or security rules or security norms in order to violate the rules in the organization or in the computer or wherever it is. So any action that compromises the security rules, we can call it as security attack. So the attacker or the person who is doing such or who is involving in violation of security rules, we can call it as attacker or intruder, or sometimes we can call it as hackers also. So next, so we are going to use information security to prevent the attacks and also to detect the attacks using some mechanisms or tools or algorithms. So often we have two terminologies called threat and attack, which provides the same name. Though we have same name for threat and attack, basically threat is a potential violation of security which exists when there is a situation which makes the user to violate the rule, we can call it as threat. Whereas attack is an assault on a security device or the system, which we can call it as, the attack can be derived from the threat. So the hacker or the attacker will be more intelligent enough when they perform the attacks. So we can call that attack as the assault, and we can call the attack is derived term of threat also. So attack is a part of a threat, whereas threat is a violation of security. So attack is also a violation of the security, but we can call the attack as an assault, which can be derived from threat. So here we have two basic types of attacks. One is passive attack, the other one is active attack. If I say passive attack, if the message is not at all modified or not at all modified by the hacker or an intruder, we can call it as passive attack. Active attack in the sense, or in other words, passive attack or basically eavesdropping, monitoring of any data transmission, continuous data transmission, we can call it as passive attack. That is, the main objective of passive attacker is to obtain information that has been transmitted during the data transmission. Just they will keep track of all the informations whatever we are transmitting. That is passive attack. And next is active attack. The second attack type of attack is active attack. So in active attack, the attacker's motive is to modify the message and send the message as such the original sender. So active attack will modify the messages and it will reach the receiver with a modification of the data or information, or sometimes they themselves, the attacker themselves, will create some false information with the help of the original sender, and they will send the data to the receiver. So we have two types like passive attack and active attack. We'll see one by one. First is passive attack, as I said earlier. So Bob and Alice are the two authentic users here. So Bob wants to share some information with Alice. At the same time, Darth is a person who can be called as an intruder or attacker or an hacker. He just sits in middle of the conversation and he listens to all the conversation which has been transmitted from Bob to Alice. That is here. So Darth is a person who is sitting in the middle of the conversation. He is listening to all the messages which has been transmitted between the Bob and Alice. This is the best example of passive attack. We can call eavesdropping is a kind of passive attack. Just they listen to the conversations, that just they listen to all the messages which has been transmitted between the Bob and Alice. So in passive attack we have some classifications. First one is release of message contents. So from the figure A, we can easily see what is release of message content, which is similar to passive attack definition. That is, Bob will be sitting there and Alice will be there. So when and suppose Bob wants to share some information with Alice, the Darth is a person, he is an attacker, he also listens to all the conversation. So here we are releasing the message content. So that is the example for release of message content. And traffic analysis is like he used to sit in the middle of the conversation and he listens all the template which has been shared between the Bob and Alice. So that is traffic analysis. So traffic analysis is just way of masking the content or messages or any other information using the data transmission. That is based on the data transmission or data traffic. Traffic is nothing but data transmission. So based on the pattern we are identifying some messages, we can call it as traffic analysis. Moving on to the next type, that is active attack. As I said earlier, active attack, the hacker will sit in the middle of the conversation and he used to capture the message. He himself modify the message and send the data to the receiver, stating that the message was sent originally by the sender. Or sometimes he will listen to the conversation, he himself will create a message and send it to the receiver, or he will capture the message, changes the message and send it to the receiver. So we have some types of active attacks also. First is masquerade. So masquerade is nothing but authentic users will be there, that is Bob and Alice. Legitimate, they are called as legitimate users, but Darth is an hacker. He himself drafts a message and send the message with the name of the Bob to the Alice. So what the Alice will think that the message will be sent originally by the legitimate user called Bob. So this is masquerader. And next type is replay attack. So sender will be there, suppose Bob is there, Alice is there, they are the original source and receiver, but the hacker will sit inside the conversation, and when and all the Bob is sending a message, the hacker, the Darth, also will send a message to the same message to the Alice. So Alice will get confused which one is the original message. The message will be flooded again and again by all the intruders in the network. That is replay attack, simply resending the original message which has been sent by the sender to the receiver. And next type is modification of message. So whenever the data was sent by Bob to Alice, the attacker will modify the content and he will send the modified content to the receiver. And finally we have denial of service attack. So the main motive of DOS is to keep the server busy or keep the receiver busy by flooding the messages. So in order to make the resource unavailable for the legitimate user, we can call it as denial of service. And next thing is we have security service. In order to increase the security, we have some types of services to protect the data or the information during the transmission of data, so which has been intended to counter security attacks. And using some security services we can protect our data. For example, using signatures we can avoid such types of attacks, either passive or active attacks, by signing the legitimate user signature digitally. And if you want, you can use some date or token in order to protect the data. States that this message was authenticated by the original sender. Or sometimes we can add some hashing functions also in order to increase the security measures. So we have two types of security services. One is X.800 and the other one is RFC 2828. So these are all the basic types of security services in order to enhance the security measures. So what is X.800 is a service provided by a protocol layer. It is like a service used by the protocol layer of communication system, that is open system architecture, OSI layer is there. So that layer will use this X.800 protocol in order to increase the data security during the transmission of data. And RFC 2828 is a processing or communication service which is provided by a system to give a specific kind of protection to all the available resources in the system. So first we'll see X.800 services. We have authentication. Authentication is nothing but claiming the original user. That is, in order to identify the legitimate users, we can go for some authentication mechanisms. Access control is just to prevent the unauthorized usage. So using that access control, we can say who can access the data or a system or any kind of resource. And data confidentiality is like a security which is used to protect the data during transmission from the unauthorized access or usage. And we have data integrity. This is like an assurance we can give for data transmission, that is, the data has to reach the receiver without any modification, is data integrity. And non-repudiation is after the message has been sent by the sender, the sender should not deny after sending a message. The same way the receiver should not deny after receiving a message, that is non-repudiation. Next thing is we have security mechanisms. Again, it is used to detect or prevent or recover from a specific security attacks. And we don't have any single mechanism to protect all kind of security attacks. We have different mechanisms for preventing or detecting different kinds of attacks. Basically we will be using cryptographic techniques because we are dealing with a cryptographic security algorithm. So using that techniques we can protect the security, or we can protect the data or any kind of resources during transmission. So as we discussed earlier, security mechanisms also designed with the help of X.800 protocols. So we have two different security mechanisms. One is specific security mechanism, the other one is pervasive security mechanism. So if I say specific security mechanisms which can be incorporated into any appropriate protocol layer in order to provide some of the OSI security services. So using OSI model, we can incorporate these security mechanisms in any kind of layers, any kind of protocols. Say for example, TCP protocol also will use digital signature or access controls or data integrity. Like that, we can use specific security algorithms for specific protocol layers. And similarly, if I say pervasive security mechanism, which are not specific to any particular OSI architecture, it can be applied all over the protocols. So we have some trusted functionality, security labels, or security audit trials in order to increase the security systems. So finally, we are coming to the conclusion. So far we have discussed about what is computer security, network security, and internet security, and we have discussed about some security attacks, basic kinds of security attacks, and what are all the services we used to increase the security, and what are all the mechanisms or tools or algorithms we can use to increase the security, and finally the models for network access security. So thank you.